develop a plan improving the the prevention treatment and recovery services according to the specifications of the HRSA Rural Community Opioid Response Planning Grant. Mr. Reed, you want to speak to that?
I think it was called.
Or Mr. Goldman, go ahead.
Yes, sir. As you see, it's basically a memorandum of understanding between us and this village. There's no funding. Part says both parties agree, understanding this MOU is not committing any funds. Basically just supporting, this village as they try to help in the opioid crisis. Down there at the first page, it talks about the role of the Board of County Commissioners, and basically we're just assisting where we can, to help them.
Any comments?
Motion approved.
Second. All right, I have a motion to approve the resolution in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Five, all those opposed, excuse me. 5-0. All right, the federally funded, summer grant and agreement with the emergency management, for, $147,751.93. Mr. Al William, come on up.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
As you all know, like, Sheriff mentioned earlier and Chief Deputy F, when you're dealing with federal, state, and local money and funding, it gets a little tied up. The paperwork that the chairman has today, it's an agreement between the state and Madison County to receive the funding reimbursement from Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma was back in 2017, but as you all know, it takes that long to jump through the hoops. And basically, what it is, we have project worksheets that were submitted, and I have to, behind me, the department heads and also the sheriff's office, it's not there's no I in team. It's all coming together, and I just appreciate the other department head members. This was not their first hurricane, Hermine. We had to go through Hermine, but we learned a lot during Hermine. And the reason why I mentioned the department heads, they know what the state and feds are looking for as far as worksheets, how much employees are making, what is actually done. A lot of people think they just go out and start cleaning up, and it doesn't work like that. Especially the feds, they want photos, they want cubic yards, they want man hours, time hours, machine hours. You don't just go and send them a bill, well, this is how much it was. But before you is an agreement between the state and the county. How it rolls is the feds send the money down to the state and the state distributes it. Happy to say it seems that we kind of got delayed there, and it seems like when a new governor stepped in, kind of expedited this program. So now you see a lot of counties like ours that were sitting idle. The state is on our heels now. Hey, this money is obligated now. So that's why it's in front of you. And basically the bottom line on this agreement, if it is not signed, we will not get the money. But I'm happy to report today that the total amount that they are looking at was listed at $147,751. Now this money is just not for emergency management. Once these project worksheets come in, such as the road department, EMS, all the departments that took action during the hurricane prior to and after, the project worksheets were obligated, so that money will go back to those departments to refund them on their financial burden on this. Other than that, does anybody have any questions? We went through this during her meeting, and it was pretty much, as Attorney Reed said, if it doesn't get signed, we don't get the money. Does anybody have any questions, or?
I don't have a question, just a comment, I guess.
Yes, sir.
The wheels of government turn slow, don't they?
I'll keep that confident. It is, and I understand, you know, financially, they just don't wanna jump out, and I'm glad they don't, and I'm glad that we dot our i's and cross our t's, because what happens, and this has happened in some counties, and that's why we rely on our attorney a lot. They'll put in these project worksheets, and the government comes out and gives you that money, and guess what? 5, 10 years later, you get audited, and now they come back and say, oh, by the way, you owe us 50,000. So that's why I'd rather take my time, dot my i's, cross my t's, work with the other departments, and, you know, submit the right paperwork at the right time.
Okay,
I guess.
all right, well, that makes sense. Mr. Chair, motion is in order, I move that we approve this, grant award.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Mr. Whitmire, sign it as we speak, as you speak.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I will make one.
Great
copy.
deal of places to sign in, I put those little, sticky
fine.
notes on there for.
I'm fine. Mr. Washington's helping me find all the, sticky notes. Next time, please take them out the edge so I can see them.
But you notice I spelled your name right too, so. there's-
No, you didn't.
like that.
You spelled my name wrong in every place. Well, I'm gonna forgive you this time.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Williams. All right, number 5, discussion regarding our meeting on the 27th. We have a legislative review meeting that day in Tallahassee, and I think we're gonna need to talk about that. Discussion or motion is in order.
I hope we will all be able to attend. I'm checking my calendar now.
I plan on going to, and I think I put in my paperwork to go to the legislative day and some of the training, but I really hadn't planned to go to that evening, because
No.
we had a meeting that night.
Well, it is an evening meeting. I plan to go because I'm gonna do my ethics that day, and I'm probably gonna attend some of the other meetings.
The ethics was on Tuesday.
It is on Tuesday. We can, the discussion is, do we wanna attend the, function that night, or do we want to come back for the meeting? Don't anybody speak at once.
Well, I do plan on attending legislative day. Is there any paperwork we need to
I
train?
just need to know if you wanna go and if there's any additional training sessions you want to attend.
I do wanna attend the legislative day, but I'm not aware of any training sessions that I need to attend.
Okay.
But I think you've got your certifications and advanced, so.
Yes.
I think I'm good on all certificates except my ethics. I do need to make sure you put me in for ethics on Tuesday.
The legislative day is Wednesday.
Right,
And there is a formal gathering, meet and greet, and networking
That evening.
luncheon that evening,
right.
or dinner that evening.
Well,
I didn't sign up for that, because I felt like we had a meeting, but that's up to y'all.
I do need to attend that ethics training. That's once a year training.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have to go on that.
That ethics training.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's on Tuesday, we were talking about Wednesday. The meeting Wednesday night is a very good networking meeting, but, you know, if y'all feel that we need to come back and do the meeting, or we can extend it to the following week.
Can we just change it from Tuesday or Thursday? Is that, you think we might have anything pressing or pending on the agenda that we need to?
Well, Thursday and Friday, they have the other, certification classes going on Thursday and Friday.
And I just wanted to point out, on March 28, if you would change it to Thursday, at 6 o'clock is the MCDC Vision 2030 meeting.
Right, that's correct.
Okay,
So,
so Thursday's out.
yeah, Thursday's out. Now, we're through, you and I'll be through with ethics, I think, well, no, it's not 6 o'clock for that.
But that's
I was thinking about doing Tuesday.
What time does the classes finish up on Wednesday?
There's no classes.
No class, there's no class.
That's
Just the
It's
legislative
just a
day,
legislative day, we'll,
and then that night.
and since we have no representative at this time, we'll be meeting probably with Mr. Montford, Senator Montford. And there is a meeting that BAC will have prior to that, now are we meeting in the,
Challenger Learning
Challenger
Center.
Learning Center? We're all meeting there again.
What we've done in the past, back we have its morning orientation, in noontime, we go see our legislators.
Right.
And probably send them along, like Chairman said, we don't want to get Mike to talk with.
Yeah, Senator Montford's gonna be the only one, and my thought is that's gonna leave us a lot of dead time in the afternoon, so, you know, if y'all, I mean, I go with the pleasure of the board, but, just throwing it out, that's gonna give us some dead time in the afternoon if we wanna just come on back and have our meeting that night. Do we know of anything pressing on the agenda that night,
No, sir.
at this time? Okay.
It would be my opinion that we not reschedule a meeting or postpone, I think, we have business here to take care of, and we need to take care of our business.
Right.
I agree with
Suits me.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
By
not
consent.
I'll be here at 6 o'clock.
All right, by consent, I think without a vote, I think consensus, we'll go ahead and continue the meeting on, as scheduled on the 27th, okay? All right, moving back to Public Works, Mr. Lonnie, I didn't mean to go, but I want to get some of the other things out of the way, I knew people were waiting. I'm gonna give you the floor for most of the, at least the first three.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I haven't had a chance to talk to Lonnie about this, but the Greenville, fire station,
Right.
we've only got one price on that, and I would like to get some additional prices,
Okay.
on that, if it's okay with y'all, that I
All right.
refer that to the,
Let's
to the
defer
next
that
meeting.
to the 27th meeting then.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
And Mr. Lonnie, you wanna go ahead with number 2 and number 3?
Yes, sir, on number 2, we had two locations of some culverts on Fellowship Road we had to replace a couple of years ago. And one culvert we replaced on Osteen and on Friendship roads. These are all near the Sermons area, if you're familiar with those roads. We have one place on Friendship, we had to dig up some tree roots. It was approximately 850 foot long. I had asked the Scruggs Company and Anderson Columbia are also doing some paving in the area through a DOT project to give me quotes for those repairs. We should have a quote from the Scruggs Company for 2 locations, 20 foot wide by 100 foot long. One location on Osteen, 20 foot wide, 100 foot long. And one location on Friendship Road, 20 foot wide, 850 foot long, for a total of $50,500. And that will go in and scrape the lime rock and grass back, and they'll come in and trench the road with a little milling machine to get a good smooth joint and pave over those areas that the asphalt is missing. I also got the same quote, I got those same distances to Anderson Columbia. They're gonna be on 150 south of Greenville, they'll be in the area as well. And we got those same quotes from them for $51,577 total if you add all 3 of those together. So it would be my recommendation to go with the Scruggs Company for $50,500.
That'd be my motion.
Second. All right, have a motion and a second for the Scruggs, bid. Any further discussion?
Just the only question is, you know, we're looking at averages per mile of paving, is that that's a little over 1,000 feet? From what I was figuring, it's pretty.
Yes, sir,
pretty
and,
comparable to what we're paying per mile.
I think so, I think that's pretty close to what we expected.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any further discussion? tire changing machine, for road department.
Yes, sir, we talked about this, I guess, a couple months ago, about a tire machine for our facilities out at the road department shop for our larger tires with truck tires and, specifically, more importantly, I guess, grader tires. Those have gotten quite expensive to get those changed out, and we're running out of options of who wants to pull those bigger tires. We did, or you guys did vote for a cheaper bid, I think it was around $5,600 and some odd dollars earlier. Once we got that bid, we got with that company to purchase that machine, we found out their headquarters are located in California. They would not accept a purchase order to send a machine up, they wanted us to pay for the machine up front, then they ship it to us. I have a problem with a company that wants to pay up front, and then we may not see the machine, they're in California, and we're out the money. So, we do still have those original quotes, I included those in your packet. There's one from the Greg Smith Equipment Company for $7,200, they're located in Georgia. We've already talked to them, they don't have a problem taking PO for the equipment. It would probably be, in reality, easier for us to get the machine serviced out of Georgia than it would California anyway. We did have another quote from a company called RE Hetra for $11,696.46. So if you would allow me to, I would, recommend that we take the quote for $7,200 from the Greg Smith Equipment Company.
That's my motion, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second, take the Greg Smith, you said Greg Smith's company?
Yes, sir, Greg Smith Equipment Company.
Equipment company, all right. I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to number 4, we wanna have discussion about the, who wants to go first?
I can start it off.
All right.
Agenda, there ain't no problem. I've been getting a few calls from some of the employees, and so I went and talked to some of them. And their thing is, they scared to death to even talk to the commission, and they've been told that if they talk to the commission, they might lose their job. But, we can address that part later. But, you know, we started this 10-hour days back in June of 2008. And it seems to me that it's been working, you know, from there up until now. My thing is, I don't feel like it's broken. It might be some cracks in it, but I think we maybe need to fill the cracks in and just leave it like it is. It's gonna be inconvenient. And I know these employees work for the county, but it's gonna be some inconvenience with them having to go 5 days, and some of them got other jobs on Friday. And I know the job that they own should be the number one job. But with looking at all of that, I just feel like, the employees should have some say-so in it. The employees is taxpayers, you know, even though they might work for the county. I don't feel like it's right for them to feel like they can't come and talk to the commission. And what I tell them, I say, you know, follow the chain of command. You know, you got supervisors, you got a manager, and do that. But the morale is down real low from talking to them, and I just think that we need to address it now. I heard that it was gonna change in April. That's what I was told. Brian hadn't told me that, and, but that's what I heard it was gonna change. So I feel like we need to leave it like it is, and I'll just let some other commissioners talk that they want to talk about.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I also was contacted by numerous employees, and kind of like Commissioner Martin said, then I was told later that they were told they couldn't contact their commissioner, and I run on accessibility and accountability, and I'm accessible to every resident in the county. I believe in chain of command, and I believe we should support our county manager, but we also need to give him a direction the way the board is looking. Quite a few of these employees, probably well over 50%, work a part-time job to supplement their income for their families. And it's a perk that we can give them. It's been going on now for approximately 10 years. And I had a long conversation with Brian, and he was concerned about not having coverage on Friday. And I've not had any calls from anybody that's complained. But if there are, then if we have to go to 5-day work weeks, then I suggest we do 2 shifts, a Monday, Thursday, and a Tuesday, Friday, and then we do have coverage. But I'm concerned about the morale of the employees, and morale equals productivity, and when your morale's in the tank, your productivity's in the tank. So I support staying on 4 10s of some kind.
All right, thank you for your comments. Any other commissioners?
Yeah, I'll speak on it, and I have had the complaints about accessibility, and I have had the complaints about productivity, and, my thoughts are that just like us, we serve the citizens, just like the other county employees, the sheriff's office including, there, of course, y'all there, I'm just giving an example, I mean, he's accountable to the citizens as we are. And I feel that if we're losing productivity, and I've broached some of this conversation with Brian in the past on how we can do that. I mean, what happens if another department comes to us and says, well, we wanna go to 4-day work weeks? You know, how's that gonna, what happens if this get annexed here? And of course, other constitutionals can do it, but if they say, you know, well, we don't wanna work on Fridays, you know? We just made a decision, had a conversation in here about, we expect our county offices to be open till 5 o'clock every Monday through Friday.
Right.
You know, and it's just, my concern is when I get that call, and it always happens on Thursday afternoon, that it's, well, I'm sorry, well, you won't see anybody till Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever they can get to you. And to me, that's not providing a service to the public. Now, I understand that I've worked with employees all my career, you know, but there is a fine line between the two. But in my opinion, our commitment should be to the public, you know, when it comes to getting the services that they expect to get at a very limited amount of budget that we have today. And I also talked to Brian about splitting the road department. And see, this is strict, this road department, this has nothing to do with, sanitation, correct? Are y'all on 5 days, Clay?
Well, we're work 6 days a week, so it's,
Okay.
ours is a rigmarole either way you go.
You know, but anyway, I've talked to Brian about the feasibility of splitting, you know, having half a crew on Friday and half a crew on Monday. You know, but I just think we need to be available. And if it means going to 5 days a week, then I think we need to do 5 days a week. Availability to the public, that's where my concern is and my interest is.
Well, this board and employees, we all serve the public. We all put here by the public. And I've heard some valid concerns from everybody that has spoken yet. Brian, we've had some conversations about it, and I've talked with some county employees about it. But I think before we make a decision, we might need to look at our personnel policy, if we're gonna make any changes, because as I understand the policy right now, the coordinator or county manager has discretion to do what he feels is best for the county. And as I say, it's a sensitive topic or subject, and before we make any decisions on it, let's look at that personnel policy. And if we need to fine tune it, that might be what we need to do.
Well, let me just say, I have heard complaints, both from a few employees or relatives of employees, and I have also about going to 5 days because of them, some of them having part-time jobs, and I certainly respect that. But I have to also say that I agree with Mr. Kaufman and also Mr. Davis that we serve the public. The voters put us here. And one thing that I hear, and not a lot of, but I do hear comments made that you can't ever find anybody on Friday. And it's usually, and I'm not picking on you, Mr. Lonnie, but the road department next to, Mr. Blair's department are probably the ones that get seen by most county employees out on the road. The constitutional officers, unless they come to their office, they don't see it, but what they see is the road department out there doing work or not doing work, say on Friday. Mr. Blair, actually, your department probably gets spared a little bit. They may not realize some of if you have some employees full-time that are working 4 10s or working 5 days a week, whichever, the majority of the public, I think, sees our part-time employees who are working 28 hours anyway, and dividing up the days, working 6 days a week, you're talking about at the collection centers. That's where the average John Q. public sees that department. And they see they see our sheriff's department out working 7 days a week. They see EMS running up and down the road 10, 18, 7 days a week, so forth. And I think we have to really consider, and I think we owe it to our county coordinator. We hired a county coordinator to manage the departments, and I think we need to consider that when we're trying to make a decision. It's ultimately our decision. The 5 of us have to make that decision, and whichever way it goes, we need to support it. But I think that said, I think we need to seriously take a look at this and think long and hard about it. So that's all I'm saying.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, I support the chain of command, and Brian and I have talked to this quite a few times. And I'm not trying to undermine his authority or his position. I just am asking for the board's direction as the wish of the board, and whatever the majority of the board says as a unified board, we should support.
Right.
And we'll support it as well.
You know, I checked with some of the surrounding counties, matter of fact, 5. Swanee County, Jefferson County, Hamilton County, Taylor County, Lafayette County. And all them counties is working 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. And I don't think Madison is that much different. I don't see why we can't do it. And they about on the same population as we, matter of fact, Swanee County, bigger than Madison, but they doing it. And I think DOT is working.
I believe it's
Yeah,
great.
I think DOT is doing the same thing.
They're working 4 10s.
Yeah.
As far as I know, yes.
Mr. Chairman, may I
Yes,
add a little bit to it?
Yes, sir.
This is the decision that has weighed heavy on my heart for a long time. And I've talked to each commissioner about it for months now. We've talked about it. And it's a hard decision, very hard. Because Lonnie and Joe and Buddy and several other people, I've known them for 20 years, you know? And I know what having 3 days off means to them, whether they, whatever they do with that 3 days. And I know what it means to them. It's a very difficult decision from that angle. From the public side, it is not a difficult decision for me at all. Because I know it being available 5 days a week to the public is the best for the public. That's 52 Fridays that office is closed, that you can't get a permit, you can't call with a complaint. So from that side, it's an easy decision for me. The tough side is making the decision because I know what it means to the employees. But as I've told y'all, where I have to come from is, based on the guidance from y'all, and I have heard a lot of complaints over the last 6 months. And a lot of it stems from people do not feel that we get as much work done with the 4-day weeks that we do the 5-day weeks. So with, taking that into account, that's why I feel that this is a good decision for the public.
Mr. Chairman, may I comment?
Yes, sir.
When we came to the board back in 2008, the original reason for us going to a 4-day week, and I think a couple of you were on the board at the time, it was to save money to the county. Basically for travel time, our crews normally park in the field. So you've got fuel that you're using a truck to haul the operators to their machine, plus the labor. Normally anywhere we park in the county, it's gonna take about 30 minutes to get there. So you've got at least an hour travel time for the majority of our crew they're going from the shop to their machines and back in the afternoon. So when you consider the travel time of the, truck itself and the employee was the main reason. It wasn't for the guys to get a second job, it wasn't for us to have a 3-day weekend. That, to me, is irrelevant. But it was originally started to save the county money. Now, in order to go back to a 5-day week, we've got to add 25% of that cost of travel time back into the 5-day week, because we're working 4 days, and you got that travel time, you're gonna have to travel another day. And it will be another cost to the employees to get to their job, but that's an issue they'll deal with. And all my employees know this job comes first. And you as a board give us direction and guidelines of how we work. And if you guys vote to go to a 5-day work week, you won't hear me say another word about anything. But the original reason for us going to a 4-day week was to save money to the county. And we're all strapped for funds. And 40 hours is 40 hours, whether you work 4 days or 5 days. I don't know how you know, and when we do have on-call people on Friday, it's not like we're totally not available. Yes, we don't have the graders out there and the dump trucks and everything else. But if there's an emergency comes up and we need to take care of it, we've got an on-call crew runs right through the weekend. So the original reason for us going to the 4-day week was to save money to the county. It really had nothing to do with the secondary jobs or us having a 3-day week. As Mr. Martin said, most of the other surrounding counties do that for a reason. They're not doing it so their employees can have a 3-day weekend. And we've been doing it for 11 years. And I'll leave it alone.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing. If we do elect to go to 5 days, I would propose, if that comes down to it, 5 8-hour days is 40 hours. If we do a split shift, 5 10-hour days would be 50 hours exposure. We would be covering the county 10 more hours of exposure in a week than we would on 5 8s. You'd have 5 days a week, 10 hours a day, it's 50 hours.
We could look at,
No, but I thought we were going to 5 8-hour days.
I think that's the original plan, yeah.
I
You
propose
do
that
that,
if we
you
do,
gotta go into overtime.
no, I propose doing, swing shift, one crew work Monday through Thursday and one Tuesday through Friday, so then you would actually have 50 hours.
You're still not planning your employees 40 hours, you're just splitting
I
it.
see where you're coming from.
You're just giving 10 more hours coverage to the county if that be the case.
If I may respond to that, and this is something we've been working on ever since Clay has, taken over solid waste. When we hired the new office, assistant out there, she went 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So we had somebody, before the office at solid waste was closed on Fridays too. I've worked with, Jamie at Animal Control, about 3 months ago. Jamie went to basically a split shift. Jamie and Clint. Jamie works Mondays, they work together Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Clint works Friday. The challenge with that, and it gives us more hours available to the public unless somebody gets sick. So when Jamie got sick or a couple Mondays ago, I had nobody Monday. And that's what's gonna happen with the road department. Say I have roughly 20 guys, I'm working 4 days a week right now. I go to 5 days a week, I can't hardly do it with my hands, but I cut my shifts in half. So I got 10 people come in Monday, 10 people come in Friday. 3 people call in sick Monday, I can't work, that's only 7 people. And Mondays are always gonna be big because people calling in on the weekends, what do we gotta do to fix? So now I'm crippled on Mondays and Fridays. And I go back to what's the best for the public. Best for the public is I got my whole hand. I work, I got all my fingers, I can work.
Just one more comment and I'm done with it. My only comment is I support the coordinator's efforts to try to make it be as efficient as possible and provide the services. And I feel like if it's to rotate to those types of days on and off, I'm gonna support that. Other than, the only reason I've had these conversations with him for the last 6 years that I've been on this board, is the complaints I continue to get about folks in my community don't feel like they're getting the services that they pay for. And that's the only reason I've had those discussions with him. I totally agree with the support the employees. I have employees work for me. I've had employees I worked with over many years, and, and we've had to rotate shifts and schedules around to accommodate, and always been the goal to accommodate who we work for. And that's all I would have to say.
Mr. Chairman,
And
Mr. Moore.
can we hear some comments from the public?
I think I was gonna say, is there anybody from the public who would like to?
Yes, my name is Lori Korn, and as I sit here listening to this, I'm retired now, but my experience, I was a vice president of human resources for over 20 years. And my first thought is, anytime you change anything, the employees are going to complain. Because that's what they do, they're resistant to change, they don't like it, okay? And over the years, I had countless changes that we had to get employees to adapt to. Okay, secondly, it kind of concerns me that county employees are approaching board members to whine about work-related things. I know they're taxpayers, but we had the same thing. I attended a City of Madison Commission meeting a few months ago, and a city employee very publicly in front of everybody started griping about the amount of her pay raise and what she should be paid and, whatever. And I was shocked. I certainly see as taxpayers, yes, if there's some service the county provides or whatever, but I believe it should be addressed in your personnel policies if it isn't already. The reinforced chain of command, and they should not take the opportunity to whine to commissioners, discuss, we won't call it whining, when something happens at work that they don't like. That's just my opinion. I do think your first and foremost, your duty is to the citizens of Madison County who elected you, and if they feel like they need service 5 days a week, they should get it. That's all.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the general public, I wouldn't plan to have no involvement whatsoever, and I don't need any new enemies. But that's the commissioner's position to listen to the public. And they are guaranteed access to the government, however we feel. And I would like to Mr. Kaufman, has there been any studies that is the number of complaints that you're getting about the coverage? Has there been any studies to find out, is it really worth bringing the employees back to a 5-day?
No, sir, I can't give you a definitive number of them, but like I said, this is the feedback I get from the commissioners, and also feedback I do get from the public, because when they call the road department on Friday and no one answers, then they call my office. And so then I get the calls. And the commissioners get the calls as well, but because they're gonna talk to somebody. But it really just goes back to accessibility. And I also have several other departments, as they mentioned. Why can't they all go to 4 days a week? We could all go to 4 days a week, but that's not in the best interest of the public, is to go to 4 days a week. The public works